this one. I want. Okay. Okay. I get it now. I get it now. I'm messing up. There we go. Okay. Oops. Much brighter. Almost a pinkish end. There we go. Oh, something like that. Let's try that. Oh, that's. There we go. Got it. I like this. Alright, we will keep this. This works for me. Alright, save. Alright, mark another one as done. Mark is completed. And let's move on to the next one. Oh, we're okay. Let's do the recap. Then we're on the 1.4. Here we go.
So our game is in a pretty good place now. We have our camera that follows behind the player as it's offset. So that's some cool functionality that we've added. We've also gained a lot more programming knowledge. In our follow player script, we learned how to use our first public variable, in this case, so that we can actually attach a reference to our player in Unity. We learned that variables also don't have to just be numbers. They can be game objects, or they can be vector 3s. They can be of whatever type they want, as long as you make sure that you assign the same thing to the type of variable that you have. So we have a vector 3 offset, and we assigned it to a vector 3. We learned about the difference between access modifiers, like the public and the private keyword, so that we're able to interact with and use these variables in different ways inside and outside of our script. We also learned how to initialize our variables. Now, in the next lesson, we'll add our last lines of code so that we can really control this player as they drive down the road and help turn around all these different obstacles so we don't just keep pushing them all the way down. See you in the next lesson.
That didn't. Where's the. Oh, okay. Guess in recaps, they don't do the fancy noise. Alright. Okay. Alright, this mark is done. Let me get 10 XP, I guess. 5? Oh, you tough sons of bitches. Alright. Here we go. Let's keep. Why is start again like this and continue the next item not that? It's weird. Alright. 1.4. Step into the driver's seat. 10 XP. 50-minute lesson. I think, yeah, we might. Yeah, we should be able to get into Unit 2. All right. Summary overview. In this lesson, we need to hit the road again. Sorry. Summary overview. In this lesson, we need to hit the road and gain control of the vehicle. In order to do so, we need to detect when the player is pressing the arrow keys, then accelerate and turn the vehicle based on that input. Using new methods, vectors, and variables, you will allow the vehicle to move forwards or backwards and turn left to right. Project outcome. When the player presses the up down arrows, the vehicle will move forward and backwards. When the player presses the left right arrows, the vehicle will turn. Now let's take a look at the overview, which is on YouTube, which is, okay, whatever. Is it? Oh, it's so loud.
The vehicle in our prototype is currently a very low end, very dangerous self driving car. You click run, and the car rockets off on its own, crashing into every obstacle along the way. Not necessarily the kind of car you'd want to be a passenger in. So it's about time we let the player step into the driver's seat and take the wheel. By the end of this lesson, the player will be able to control the acceleration and direction of the vehicle using the arrow keys on the keyboard. The vehicle should move forward when the up arrow key is pressed, and backwards when the down arrow key is pressed. Luckily, Unity has an entire input system set up to help us do exactly that. When you press the up arrow, you get an input value of +1, and when you press the down arrow, you get an input value of -1. So let's say we set the vehicle speed to 10. All you have to do is multiply that speed by the input value and you're good to go. When the player presses the up arrow, it'll multiply 10 by +1, giving you +10, moving that vehicle in the positive forward direction. But if they press the down arrow, it'll multiply 10 by -1, giving you -10, moving the vehicle in the negative backward direction. Then you can basically use the same type of system to rotate the vehicle. You multiply the rotation by a positive value if they press the right arrow, turning the vehicle right, and multiply by a negative value if they press the left arrow, turning the vehicle left. Just some simple multiplication, and you've got full control of this vehicle. So to make all that happen, I'll see you in Unity.
Very selective in that weird, fancy woo 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 music, isn't it? All right. You know what? I am comfy doing this with no one here. Oh, this is gonna. It's gonna be different. If there's ever people just here watching me do this bullshit, this is going to be so weird. Oh boy. Let's continue. All right, we're going to add actual controls to our vehicle and make our screensaver into an actual game by making it interactive. So, let's take a look at the first step. I guess once we get the car to do the basic movements. That's it. We've done a car game. I guess we can do a plane one too. Just that's cool. But this is cool. Okay. I'm really I'm surprised this. I know it's got like 4 stars. Only 35,000 people are interested in game development or Unity game development. I mean, it's free. Why? I would think this would be in the hundreds of that. Well, I guess not too many people want to make video games, but this is a very good starting point. This is such a great resource. It just seemed underutilized. I have to thank whoever. I know this was profitable for Unity and ultimately because if the game is made, they do a great. They get a little bit of that. They get a little bit of daddy money to do daddy things. So that's understood. But ultimately, I still think this is very well done, very well utilized, very well educated. Very friendly instructor. I like that he keeps his mistakes in, and it just all feels like I'm learning something from a real person, even though it's a recording. It's almost cozy. So I think um, whoever's in charge of the Unity Learn and the people who it's very well designed, in my opinion. I'm learning a lot, so thank you so much. Let's continue. On to step into the driver's seat. Allow the vehicle to move left and right.
Our vehicle drives down the scene now, and when we press play, we have this nice tint to show us that we're in play mode, and we have our camera following, but right now, we still can't really control our vehicle. It just drives all the way down the road, just running all these obstacles over, pushing them off, and then eventually it gets to the end of the road, and then it just falls straight off. That's just because there's not an end there. But we need to be able to control this vehicle's movement. So first we need to be able to move our vehicle so that it avoids the obstacles. If we open our player controller script, we're going to need a way to control our vehicle to move left or right. So we should probably just use a variable to do that, since we know it's probably pretty bad to just use a random number. So good to think ahead in general. We're going to make this a public variable so that we can control it just like we did with the speed. It will also be a float because we'll be using decimal points. And then we're just going to call it turn, lowercase t, capital S for speed. So you can see here turn speed has different capitalization. So this is a very standard, what is called a naming convention when you're programming. So for variables, we often use lowercase letters like speed, turn speed, even transform is a variable to be able to very easily see when we're using a class or when we're using an object, when we're using methods, or when we're just using variables. Now we want to be able to move our vehicle left or right, so we'll do something similar to what we did with our transform.translate. Instead of a vector 3 forward, we can actually use, there's a whole bunch of other options for vector 3, so we can actually use like right. So this will move our vehicle in the right direction. Again, we're going to multiply by time.delta time because we want to be able to update this position over time instead of once every frame. And then we multiply by that handy turn speed variable that we made before. So now in our game, if we take a look down at our game view and we select our vehicle so we can see the values, if we press play, nothing's happening. Well, that's actually because we're multiplying by a 0. So actually, if we click on turn speed and drag it to the right, it'll actually start turning right if it's positive. If we go to the left, it'll start going to the left because the value's negative. So easy way to see how we can move our vehicle left or right. Now that's great, but we'll need to be able to also control it as well. But first, what you're going to do in your player controller script, create your own turn speed variable. We'll make it public so we can play around with it in the editor. Make it a float because it will be a decimal value. And then in your update method, we're going to add another transform. This time we're translating with vector 3 right. So we're using our right vector. And then we multiply it by time so that way it updates over time instead of every frame. And then we multiply it by our turn speed variable. So then when we play, if we click on our vehicle in the hierarchy, we can actually click and drag the turn speed so that it moves left and right. Now it's your turn.
Muted. Sorry. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay. So we're doing player controller. Boop. Bring you up. All right. So player controller. Let's. I don't remember. Whatever. Let's put this where I can read it. Um. public's vote speed. It's now going to be turn speed.